Welcome, everyone. My name is Ileana Tostado. I've been a member of this community back when the Chamber was a group of individuals with big dreams. And it's really incredible to see what the Chamber has grown to become. It's an amazing organization. For the 23 years that I've had a marketing business, the Chamber has always been there with various programs to help me along the way. Today, I'm working with the Chamber as a business advisor in the Cook County Recovery Program, helping small businesses get through these challenging times. I'd like to start by thanking you all for starting your day with us this morning as we kick off our April membership meeting. For those of you who took advantage of early registration to get your $20 gift card from our friends at DoorDash, we hope you have ordered a scrumptious breakfast this morning from one of our local businesses. Just remember to keep muted so we don't hear you slurping your coffee. Again, thank you all for attending our April breakfast membership meeting. On behalf of our entire staff and board of directors, I would like to acknowledge Pfizer, BMO Harris, Gift of Hope, and as I had already mentioned, DoorDash. Thank you all for your ongoing support. So let's start our program. Please welcome our president and CEO, Jaime de Pablo. Jaime?
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Liliana. How are you today? Good morning. Thank you for doing this. Good morning. Buenos dias. I have a big production here today. It is amazing what we have accomplished here at the Chamber, and everything we want to do is bring you quality and good programming. And today, we're going to do just that to you guys today. So behind me, behind the scenes, there's 3 people that think that Steven Spielberg. They're over here with 3-4 cameras. I got people filming me all over the place. So I feel special today to bring this over to you guys. I wish we were in person, but this is the best we can do. And I assure you, we're gonna have fun today. We're gonna learn a lot, and especially we are gonna network and get to know each other, and hopefully we can do some businesses one-on-one basis. So good morning with that. And first of all, I hope everybody acknowledged that DoorDash was kind enough to give us a certificate for $20. It really had a big impact in our community. DoorDash gave us $20 to about 160 people today. So if you multiply that by $20, it's about $3,000 that we have an impact to small businesses. So please do that. Support your local businesses. I'm just having a cafe here from Pilsen area that I really love, that coffee shop, but thanks to DoorDash, we got that. So thank you so much. It is incredible. If you divide 150 times 20 is $3,000. Think about that. We made a big impact at the small restaurants today. So welcome, everybody. It is a pleasure to be here today. I especially want to thank our world-renowned Pfizer for a world-class company whose specific leadership is taking the pandemic in the 21st century. Thank you, Pfizer, for believing in the Chamber or being partner of the Chamber. We really appreciate that. And because of that, we have with us Antonio Iglesias, a Latino, who is the vaccine medical director here today. We're going to hear from them today, and they're going to talk to us about a report and how that we can continue building trust in the vaccine. Thank you, Toño, as we Mexicans say. Toño is a dear word to us, so thank you for being here today in our collaboration. The Ihcc believes in Pfizer's serious work, so we have taken concrete actions to have created and launching a program and a campaign to convince stakeholders that people of the value of the vaccine. And it should be with the small businesses should be the ones promoting the vaccine. We believe every small business owner is an influencer in his or her community, and not only before his employees, but around to every customer around. So business owners should be the ones directing and telling people to get vaccinated is the future of this country. Ihcc would like to thank the banks. We are committed to our community. That's the reason we have a corporate member, our good friends today, BMO Harris Bank, who are joining us today here. I want you to know that because of BMO Harris, we're going to be launching our 30+1 gala coming up on September 30. I hope you guys can buy your table. It's selling out soon. So thank you, BMO Harris, for being here today. And they're going to unveil a program today that they launched about a couple of weeks ago around Black and Brown communities and how they can have real access to capital with very little collateral. So please listen into what they got to say is awesome. A great part of offering personal advice and the clients is that it's a strategy. I also want to thank our friends and partners again, DoorDash, for believing in us and being a solid partner at the Chamber. So we really appreciate your help. And because of today, we have a real impact on small businesses today. Today is a special day for me, very special day. I'm very proud to be Mexican today, especially Latino Mexican. And not only because I'm from Guadalajara, but my wife is from Chihuahua. And we're going to honor here today, thanks to our friends at Gift of Hope, an organ donor organization. We are honoring one of our own, Dr. Rafael Garza, who's the first doctor that ever did a transplant on COVID lungs in the United States and the world. Right here today, he's here with us today. He's going to accept an award today. So thank you. I'm very proud for Dr. Rafael for being not just Mexican, but from Chihuahua, the homeland of my wife. And he went to school, I think somebody told me he went to school to Guadalajara, where I'm from. So I'm very proud of you, Rafael, and welcome to our chamber. And thank you, Gift of Hope, for supporting us day in and day out. Today is a very special day for me because of that reason. Lastly, I want to mention the board of directors at the chamber. The day in and day out contribute, not only contribute dollars, they contribute time, and more than ever, they contribute their heart. So this organization just keeps growing and growing. Thank you so much for being here, Juan, Arabel, Guillermo, Mayra, Milena, Art, Richard, Socorro, Matt, Kevin, and Luis. Thank you for your support, and thank you for believing in me and this incredible team. And of course, I want to thank the talented Ihcc team, 18 hard professionals that work day in and day out to make sure every business stay open, make sure they get the right resources to your businesses so you can keep standing and keep doing business. Our job is to make sure you stay open. And we're going to do everything possible for you to do that. This is the reason why we have partners like Pfizer, Gift of Hope, BMO Harris Bank, and DoorDash here today, is because they believe in us, they believe in our mission, and they believe in helping businesses grow. In closing, I repeat my opening sentence. We are here to help. Our motto here at the chamber is we are here to help, and we're going to make sure we do that day in and day out. With that, I need to apologize. Chairman Juan Gaitan, chairman of the board of the chamber, couldn't be here today with us. He was going to introduce our next guest. So it's a great pleasure to me to introduce to you our friend, the new CEO of Gift of Hope, Dr. Harry Wilkins. Harry, welcome.
Thank you so much for that introduction. And I want to thank you for allowing me to be here with you today. As you mentioned, Mr. DiPaolo, to recognize the work of an outstanding healthcare professional who has basically contributed his career to support the mission that we have here at Gift of Hope. And that is helping save and enhance the lives of as many people as possible through organ and tissue donation. It's even more pleasure for me to know that an organization such as the Illinois Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, which we have supported for over many years, continues to stress the importance of registering to become an organ and tissue donor. A couple of years ago, we hosted a roundtable where you, Mr. DiPaolo, made the commitment publicly of supporting organ and tissue donation and transplantation by helping us educate our Latino population and help dispel the myths that surround this topic in our communities of color. And we really thank you for continuing to help to promote this message through the organizations such as yours that is, like you mentioned, so influential. This month happens to be April. April is National Donate Life Month. This is a time where all of us here at Gift of Hope work with our donation partners and advocates in the state of Illinois and Northwest Indiana to focus attention on the life-saving and healing benefits of organ and tissue donation, and to talk about the importance of registering as a donor. One of those partners is Northwestern Hospital. I am a trauma surgeon by training, and just in October became the president and CEO of Gift of Hope. So I'm very near and dear to the world of surgery. And one of the partners that I mentioned at Northwestern Hospital has the honor of having what I feel to be an outstanding surgeon. He's introduced as an outstanding Latino Mexican American surgeon, but he's an outstanding surgeon who happens to be Latino Mexican American. Mr. DiPaolo, you mentioned that today you're very proud to be of Mexican descent. I will tell you that every day is a day to be proud of Mexican descent. And today, all of us in Chicago, Illinois, and the United States can be proud of Dr. Rafael Garza Castillo, he has put us on the world map. And so he has performed the first ever double lung transplant between COVID-19 patients at Northwestern. From a surgeon, I can tell you that this is an extremely technically difficult operation. And having COVID makes that even more challenging. So from a personal and professional standpoint, I have a great regard for Rafael Garza Castillo. It is great pleasure for me to be able to present this award to him. Do we have a picture of the certificate we'll be presenting? So I'd like to read this: for his proverbial and historic participation in the first double lung transplant in the United States for a patient with COVID-19 infection at Northwestern Hospital in Chicago. Thanks to the effort of Dr. Garza Castillo, medical science has taken a fundamental step in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic and organ and tissue donation and transplantation. Dr. Castillo, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Wilkins, for your kind words. I'm truly honored for this award. And as you mentioned, I mean, I'm happy to be Hispanic every day. Just today, we were finishing our 17th bilateral lung transplant for COVID-19. So we've come long ways now. Yeah, so we're very happy about that. It was a long night. We were awake all night, but it was really satisfying to do the 17th one. Still a lot of work to do. We have many patients waiting. We're bringing hope to people who are in desperate need for it. So we'll continue doing that. And I personally want to thank Dr. Wilkins and Gift of Hope. We work very closely with you, and in the name of my colleagues and I just want to thank you for all you do. You're part of this effort in this big team, and thank you for making this effort possible. And you deserve a lot of recognition as well. So I want to thank also Juan Gaitan, the Illinois Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, Jaime DePaulo, which I was hearing he's from Guadalajara and wife is from Chihuahua. So I'm sure we'll become good friends. Yeah, we should go out sometime when, I don't know if we'll still can meet with the COVID situation, but when this is under better control, we'll meet each other. And I also want to thank Ana Paula Ballesteros. She's a really good friend. She's a friend of my wife as well. And thank you for this invitation. And I'm very grateful for this award. So thank you all.
Thank you, doctor. Es un placer y vamos a celebrarlo próximamente.
Claro que sí. Jaime, nos vemos.
A Paula y al doctor Harry Wilkins con nosotros.
Perfecto. I agree with that. That would be great.
Thank you, guys. So I like to do something outside of the box today. Let's take a selfie in the screen. So, because we got to post this on social media, because these things don't happen every day. So let me put this selfie thing here. All right, guys, smile. This is our production today, man. This is a real production today. Thank you
to
to
do a
our
selfie,
team
I
to
think
do
you
this.
have to be in it. You weren't in it just then.
Oh, I got in there, believe me.
Okay.
So thank you, doctor. I appreciate your support. As always, give the hope, el doctor Rafael, gracias. And let's continue with the program. Ileana.
You're muted, Ileana.
Didn't realize I had to unmute myself. So I apologized for my little blurb up there. Thank you, both Dr. Garza and Dr. Wilkins from Gift of Hope, for your important mission, helping save and enhance lives. If anybody would like more information on how to become an organ and tissue donor, please visit giftofhope.org. You can also sign up next time you renew your driver's license. So our next speaker is Casey Anthony, Senior Manager of Public Engagement. Casey is the DoorDash executive responsible for your $20 gift cards today. So welcome, Casey.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. I'm Casey Anthony, and I'm on DoorDash's public engagement team. Thank you, Jaime, and the rest of the Illinois Hispanic Chamber for letting DoorDash be here today. I hope everyone's enjoying their breakfast, and if you haven't already ordered using the DoorDash code you should have received last night, I'd highly encourage everyone to order local. As Jaime mentioned, we all know that restaurants could use a little extra love right now. For those of you who aren't familiar, DoorDash is a technology company that connects people with the best in their cities. We do this by empowering local businesses and in turn generating new ways for people to earn, work, and live. We were founded in 2013 by Tony Xu, who immigrated from China to actually Champaign, Illinois, where his father was in school. And as a kid, Tony spent long hours in the kitchen of a local restaurant with his mother while his father was in school. It was here that Tony came up with the idea of being able to deliver more than just pizza to people's homes. I'm sure everyone on this call remembers when that's all that we could get delivered, right? Long story short, many years later, Tony developed the most successful door-to-door food delivery platform in the country. But in full transparency, we see food as just the beginning of connecting people to the best in their cities. We see ourselves as providing easier evenings, happier days, bigger savings accounts, wider nets, and stronger communities. Since our humble start in 2013, we have a lot we are proud of. Most recently, we've launched an accelerator program for 20 small businesses in Chicago that is taking them through an 8-week program to learn the ins and outs of how to maximize their business. And at the end of this, they will receive $20,000 to reinvest in their businesses. We've also partnered with countless nonprofits across the city of Chicago, ranging from food banks to CPS schools to homeless shelters, providing them meals on our app that not only serves their needs, but reinvests back into our local communities. We've partnered with the United Way to deliver meals right to people's doors. And in 2019, we contributed over $295 million to the Illinois economy that would not have otherwise existed. For those of you who are interested in learning more about DoorDash and our mission, I encourage you to check out our Impact Hub at DoorDashImpact.com. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great day and enjoy the meal.
Casey, thank you again. We look forward to seeing your DoorDash, for you participating further with us here at the Chamber. Love your mission, and it's really a great thing you guys are doing. So appreciate it. Thank you, Casey.
Thank you.
Now it's time to move on. So if we will be moving on to our next speaker. BMO Harris has been an important partner of the Chamber, and it is programs like the one they are presenting today, which offers us ways in which we can continue to help our small businesses. Today, we will hear from Vishon Harper, Young, head of BMO's Black and Latinx businesses, as well as Carlos Saceda and Marco Garcia, BMO business relationship managers. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation to be a part of the IHCC membership today. I'm Vishon Harper Young, again, head of the BMO for Black and Latinx program, which we recently launched. Well, not so recent. It was in November of last year, and we look forward to sharing that information with you further later on in the presentation. BMO Harris is a proud supporter of the IHCC in the Black and Latinx business program. And this business program consists of 3 pillars: access to capital, access to education, and access to networking opportunities. The access to educational opportunity is what we're here to do today. I brought along a team of BMO Harris professionals that you will hear from today. Again, Carlos Saceda and Marco Garcia, who are both seasoned business relationship managers supporting the Chicagoland market area. So without further ado, the presentation, is that coming up? Great. So you can go to slide 3. Let's see. Yep. And that's just a disclaimer that talks about the confidential and proprietary disclosure for the materials that will be presented today. You may advance. Next slide, please. Today's agenda. the introduction, which I just completed. Your keynote speakers, again, Marco and Carlos. And then after their presentation as keynote speakers, we will break out into rooms 1 and 2. 2 years, businesses 2 years or older, or 2 years and younger. Next slide, please. The breakout rooms really consist of the cycles that your business is in. If you're in a startup phase, that means you're pretty much writing your business plan, changing your business plan, looking for what type of capital that you need, development stage, or you may be maybe established, but still in that less than 2 years phase of the business. Growth, expansion, and maturity are businesses that are 2 years old and older, and you may be experiencing growth, you may be experiencing some expansion, and you may also be at the maturity level of your business, trying to decide what your next move might be. Next slide, please. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Marco.
Thank you, Vishon. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Jaime. Buenos días a todos. I appreciate you guys all being here. I am going to be speaking this morning on my part of the presentation about understanding your overall financial position, uncovering how lenders make a decision. We're going to talk a little bit about the 5 C's of credit. I'll take a deeper dive on the first C of credit, which will be character. And then I'll have some tips about what to do and how to protect your personal credit history. So regardless of what stage your business is in, every business owner should pay attention to the 3 main aspects of your overall financial position. One of them is your personal credit history, your financial statements, and external factors. Regarding personal credit history, it's extremely important because it's going to show creditworthiness and it's going to suggest a sense of financial responsibility, which is crucial when lenders are talking to a business owner. The only way to kind of gauge character for many of their credit underwriters is pretty much to kind of see your past payment history and also the story that we tell along with our interview when we are talking to you as a business owner. The second one is your financial statements, which pretty much is like a financial dashboard of your business. It's going to let you know how money is moving through your company, where the money is coming from, where the money is going to, and also how much money you have to work with. Again, this component is important a lot to the credit departments and many banks that you go look for credit, because if you are on top of your financial statements and when you're talking to your banker and you're answering those questions pretty quickly, like for instance, what kind of revenues, what kind of income you generated, it's always good to have a good sense of your financial performance through your financial statements. The third component would be the external factors. As a business owner, very important because you need to kind of stay on top of factors like the economy, what it's doing, and also how it's affecting your industry. In particular, because it's going to become a big component of your strategic goals for the future of your business. Next slide, please. As I was saying, those 3 items are very important for you guys to keep in mind. But also the banks take a look at a couple of other items, and those are part of these 5 C's. The first one would be character. Again, it's going to be, character is going to largely evaluate your past prior payment history. The second one would be capacity. Capacity also in some circles is known as cash flow. The lenders are going to want to see that you have enough income, sufficient income to support the repayment of the loan. The other C would be capital. They also want to see pretty much if you have some liquidity besides the money you're looking to get. It's always good to have an extra money, put aside for when times get tough or when you're looking to grow. The fourth C would be collateral. This is important for the banks because it's another source of repayment, right? So if something were to go wrong with the loan, your company, the banks are going to look to your collateral to pretty much back up another form of repayment of their loan to you. And last and not least would be conditions. Again, this relates a lot to your industry, the industry you're operating in. Also, it's good to for the banks to keep an eye on the supplier relationships and so forth and so on. So again, the 5 C's of credit, and this is most of the lenders are going to look at this. It's going to be character, capacity or cash flow, capital, collateral, and conditions. Next slide, please. We're going to take a little bit of a closer dive on character. Next slide, please. Again, going to the character, it is important because, like I said, when you're talking to your lender, it's very crucial that that you kind of explain your story, tell about your company, how it's doing, how it's performed, what your plans are into the future. So always be ready to answer, the questions for your banker, and it's very important for the banker to understand a little bit of your character. And the one way to do that is by pretty much kind of taking a look at your credit history. So it's important to please obtain a free credit report. You want to make sure that you're checking your personal credit history. So make sure that you do go get your free credit report whenever you can. When you have that report in front of you, important to review it. Make sure you look into it to see if there's any negative events in there, including but not limited to charge-offs, debt collections, any bankruptcies, foreclosures, tax liens, and judgments. You'd be surprised when we're doing a loan sometimes, customers have no idea, especially when it comes to sometimes these tax liens and stuff. So important for you to not only get your free credit report, but look into it and see what may be an issue there. And if you do find errors, make sure that you actually dispute them, because you want to clean them up as soon as possible. Next slide, please. Some good tips to make sure that your credit history is strong. It goes without saying, make sure you pay your bills on time. Make sure you get credit for making your utility and cell phone bills on time as well. Also, pay off debt and keep balances low in compared to your credit balances. And don't apply for a lot of credit very consistently. What I mean by that, it's when you go to a bank and they run your credit, if they see that there's been a whole bunch of other people running your credit, it kind of shows some red flags to the institution, because it shows that you've been applying for credit for many financial institutions and possibly have not been getting approved. So those are red flags, and it doesn't look good on your credit. Also, you do not want to close, if you have any kind of credits open, credit cards, don't close them. That'll affect your credit, it'll drop it. So make sure you leave them open. And also make sure that you dispute inaccuracies on your credit reports. Things to avoid: make sure you don't make the payments late, that you don't have high levels of debt against your credit cards and revolving debt, and also asking for too much credit consistently in a short period of time. The other thing that you should try to avoid is not using credit enough. In other words, if you're always paying your credit card debt at the end of that month, it's also going to be, it affects the credit a little bit on the negative side. So if you want to have some debt on those credit cards, keep it at a low level. And also be very cautious to signing for any other loans out there. If you sign for any other loan and it shows on your credit report, they're going to attach that debt as if you were the only one paying that debt. It doesn't matter if you're only paying a portion of it or if you only sign as a guarantor. It doesn't matter. If it shows on your credit report, the banks are most likely going to, pretty much add that to your debt structure as if you're paying the entire debt. And again, make sure you pay all those traffic tickets, medical bills, child support, or taxes on time, because they will affect you negatively. And also, if you don't pay your utility bills on time, it's going to affect you negatively. So make sure you stay on top of all those pieces. Next slide, please. Again, this is my my last slide on character. It's important to keep in mind that while credit scores are a great indicator of your past credit behaviors, it's also important to take management and other industry relevant experiences into account. So very important for you to surround yourself with a good team of experts. It's important that as a business owner, you have a good connection with your bank, that you want to make sure that you have a conversation with them at least minimum, once or twice a year, just to kind of let have a good conversation with your banker as to what you're doing, what you're planning for that year, so that you and your banker are proactive for all those decisions that are coming up. Also, make sure that you have a good team of an accountant, an attorney, and it's crucial because they're going to be the ones that are going to be mentoring and helping you through the credit process. And with that, I'm going to pass it on to my business partner, Carlos Sauceda. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marco. And good morning, everyone. And thanks again for having us. We are so excited to be here. I am going to take a deeper dive into the capacity piece. I know in a lot of my conversation with business owners, this is a really key component and a way that us as bankers can really help educate our clients, because we know that you are experts in your business. But when it comes to the financial piece of it, there's just not enough time for you to master that as well. So that's where we come into play. So I'm going to go into understanding key financial statements. So if we can go to the next slide, please. Some of the financial statements that you'll see or they will ask for, and things that we'll take a deep dive into is the balance sheet. Balance sheets have will have your current assets and your long-term assets. That also lists any current liabilities and long-term liabilities, as well as the owner equity. Another financial statement that we would ask for and basically look to understand is your income statement, which basically goes over all your revenues, expenses, which in turn will give us a net income. And then obviously the key term EBITDA, which is your earnings before interest, taxes, depreciations, and amortization. And then the next thing we look at is your cash flow. Operating, investing, financing activities. Your cash flow helps us understand the cycle of your of the cash in your business, how it comes in, how it comes out, and then basically how you can afford a certain debt. So those are key financials that we will ask for, that we will talk through with our clients, and then ultimately be able to educate you on how we look at that. Next slide, please. Understanding working capital. So it's made up of your current assets. So current assets would be cash, anything that can be converted into cash within a year, such as investments, accounts receivables, and inventory. They will also have your current liabilities that you expect to pay with cash over the next 12 months. Accounts payables, such as what you will be billed for supplies you have already received or equipment you have already installed. And this will ultimately be giving us our working capital ratio, which is the ratio of your current assets to current liabilities. And here at the bottom, it explains a little bit of what a current ratio is. So a 2% ratio is your current assets are twice as large as your current liabilities. And 1% ratio would be your current assets are equal to your current liabilities. So again, these are very important things a bank likes to know, because it really gives us an idea of what your working capital looks like. Next slide, please. And just going into a little bit more about the capacity. This is a slide that I am really big or the information on this slide, I should say, I'm really big on making sure I help clients understand how we calculate ability for a small business to pay back a debt. So this is exactly how we look at it. We take our customers' personal income, which includes of their wages, other types of income such as Social Security, retirement. We look at personal debt payments. So anything you might have on your personal debt, kind of going back to what Marco spoke about earlier, right? Credit card debt, mortgage payments, things of that nature. And then we also include personal taxes and living expenses. Then we also include your net income from the business. So that's the bottom line of your business tax return. We look at that. We're going to add that with any interest you've paid on any business debt. So one of the benefits of having business loans or business lines is you do get to write off the interest. So we're going to add that back as income. We're going to add back any depreciation. any equipment that you bought, any goods for the business that you bought, obviously you'll be able to depreciate that over time. So that is actually an added back income because it's not technically money out of the business's pocket, if you will. And then the amortization, this is basically a non-tangible asset that we're able to depreciate, that you're able to depreciate. Ultimately, give us, and then we're gonna divide that by any business debt. So any business debt that the business has, we'll divide that, and then that'll give us the debt service coverage. So that's basically, for those that have been through the purchase, buying a home, things of that nature, that's the equivalent of your debt to income ratio on the personal side. So we like it to be at 1.25. So basically you have $1.25 for every dollar of debt that the business has. Next slide, please. And then the final three C's that we'll talk a little bit about are the capital, collateral, and conditions. Next slide. So capital in a business can be either cash or equity in the business, similar to a down payment on a home or when you buy a car. So another way to think about capital is considering it as a savings account for the business, which is especially important during economic downturn or business growth. So reserves are really big, just like Marco stated earlier, because that can definitely help the business in case of a decrease in sales and things of that nature. Collateral is again the secondary source of repayment. So ideally, what we look at is obviously first and foremost is we want to make sure the business can afford the debt. So going back to the previous slide where we talked about the capacity, we here at I can talk about it here at BMO because that's something I'm super proud about is we really make sure that businesses can cash flow, can support a certain debt. And where collateral is very, very loose here. So we aren't really too concerned with collateral. And I know we have especially really special programs right now out there. But ultimately, there has to be, at times, there does have to be collateral. And again, that's just a secondary source of repayment. And then conditions, right? We always take a look at, what the conditions of the current market are. For example, if we've seen businesses, especially during this time where a lot of small businesses have been impacted, we do take that into account at times. If there was a decrease in revenues and basically that's where telling the story really helps us really getting to understand where your business is, where it's going, and what conditions, what are we doing to weather the conditions that are out there right now. Next slide, please. And lastly, we're going to cover a little bit of a bank solution. So when we talk about cash flow, ways to help finance equipment, things of that nature, what we have are different financing solutions. We have revolving lines of credits. Revolving lines of credits are able to help you with your accounts receivables, right? We have a lot of businesses who provide a service or a solution. Today, they might not get paid for 30 days, 40 days, 45 days. So that's where a revolving line of credit really comes into play and can really help a business maintain their cash flow. Non-revolving lines of credits, those are basically one draws, and then they convert into possibly a fixed rate, a fixed term. Then we have term loans. So term loans can be used for purchasing equipment. They can be used for permanent working capital. You can hire 5 new employees and convert and do a term loan. Term loans are good because they're usually fixed loans, fixed terms, and you know exactly when they'll be paid off. SBA solutions, we also here at BMO have an SBA department that can help with funding new businesses. Sometimes we have loans that might not have the collateral to support. So SBA really is a partner of ours, and we can really help finance those businesses as well. We have business credit cards. We talk about managing daily cash flow. Business credit cards are a great way to do it. Oftentimes you can get 0% interest, things of that nature. So it really provides the flexibility of managing your daily cash flow. And then we also have treasury solutions, obviously our business accounts, business checking, business savings. We have our BMO digital banking online platform. And then we're able to have solutions in that platform that include ACH services with blocks and filters, and also being able to do payments via Zelle. Next slide, please. And lastly, I know we touched on this in the beginning, but here are two links that can provide a ton of information. I know we covered a lot this morning, and a lot of it we can go even more into depth. But these two links here provide a lot of information on ways that we can help our small businesses. We do have a program we launched recently for Black and Latinx businesses. Very, very streamlined lending for our clients. We've even lowered a lot of metrics to help more of our clients be qualified. So it's really, really exciting to have this program. So I encourage everyone to take a look at this. And then our BMO Harris Insights page, which has a lot of different tools to help educate our small business clients. All right, and without further ado, I guess we're going to be breaking out into our breakout rooms. Do I want to send it back to the host here?
Yes, thanks, Carlos and Marco, for your presentations today. And I do believe it's time to go into the breakout rooms where members can ask additional questions regarding the material that's presented. There will be a brief presentation in each of the breakout rooms, but plenty of time, hopefully, for you to ask questions based on your current business needs. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, BMO, for your invaluable support and for taking the time to present us with much needed resources. You guys are always great with your resources, so thank you very much, especially as we continue to navigate and pivot back from one of the hardest years we hopefully will ever have. And as a chamber, our main objective is to focus on helping our business community get back onto their feet. We know that this pandemic has affected many of us at a personal level. And because you are all part of the IHCC family, we want to be able to answer many of the questions we continue to receive about the COVID-19 vaccine. Today, we have Dr. Antonio J. Iglesias, Director of U.S. Medical Affairs for Pfizer, to help us better understand the importance and need of the COVID vaccine. Welcome, Dr. Antonio.
Hi, Liana. Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
I think we can. Go right ahead. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So let me share my screen really quick. And okay, so let me share my my presentation here. And let me know, Ileana, if you
can see it.
Okay, perfect. So it should be better now. Well, first, it is a pleasure to be here this morning. And this is a great opportunity. So with me today are Stacy Ford and Meg Fraser, who are my Illinois, dear Illinois colleagues. So I appreciate that they're here with me today. And Stacy, Meg, and I, we want to thank the leadership and the members of the Illinois Hispanic Chamber of Commerce for all the work that you have done and you continue doing during this pandemic. I think being Hispanic, I'm Cuban American, it's difficult not to get emotional when we think about all the work that Hispanics have done during this pandemic. We have been in the front lines. We have been the essential workers that have been keeping things moving and open. And at the same time, we have been disproportionately affected. We're more likely to be hospitalized for COVID-19. We're more likely to die from COVID-19. So this is a great opportunity to talk about a little bit about our science, but also to talk about vaccine confidence because Jaime earlier today, by the way, Jaime, you can call me Toño anytime. Calling me Toño reminds me of a number of people that I have loved in my life. So thank you for calling me Toño. But I think Jaime mentioned that it is the responsibility of all of us, not only healthcare providers, but business owners, all of us, the community, we have a responsibility to be able to improve vaccine confidence and tell the story so people are not afraid to offer their arm and be vaccinated. Es nuestra responsabilidad social, es algo que tenemos que hacer para protegernos todos y proteger a nuestra comunidad. Aquí entonces vamos a empezar con la presentación, but thank you very much for this opportunity. I will start with a little bit of a disclaimer, and just to, this is important, that the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine has not been approved or licensed by the FDA, but as you all know, has been authorized for emergency use by the FDA under the EUA to prevent coronavirus disease 2019 or COVID-19 for use in individuals 16 years of age and older. And the emergency use of this product is only authorized for the duration of the declaration that circumstances exist, justifying the authorization of emergency use for the medical product under Section 564B1 of the FD&C Act, unless the declaration is terminated or authorization is revoked sooner. I wanted to point all of you to our EUA website and our EUA landing page, where you can obtain a lot of information about a vaccine. There's a fact sheet for healthcare providers administering the vaccine, and these are the vaccination providers, but there's also a fact sheet for those individuals receiving the vaccine, and a lot of fantastic information at our EUA website, which is cvdvaccine.com. Also, if you would like to learn more about our science, more about everything we're doing around COVID-19, you can visit Pfizer.com, and there's a section called Our Science, and then there's a group of resources related to COVID-19. So I urge all of you to also to visit Pfizer.com. And I wanted to start with a story going chronologically a little bit about how we started our relationship with BioNTech. Initially, we partnered with BioNTech back in 2018 to take a look at the feasibility for research and development of a flu vaccine with BioNTech. But then, you know, the pandemic came, everything changed. So we partnered with BioNTech for a COVID-19 program. The vaccine candidates are based on the proprietary mRNA platform of BioNTech. BioNTech has extensive experience in designing, synthesizing, and manufacturing and formulating mRNA platforms. Then Pfizer, what we bring to the table is our expertise in vaccine research and development, our capabilities in the area of regulatory and global manufacturing and distribution network. So this is how we started, we continue our collaboration with BioNTech. And this slide, if we take a look at the timeline in the bottom, as we continue with going in sort of a chronological order, that in March of last year, we signed the letter of intent with BioNTech for the development of the mRNA vaccine. Then in July, we started our phase 3 trials. That's when we move forward the candidate, the vaccine candidate, which is the BNT162b2 candidate, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. Then in November, we met the primary efficacy endpoints, and we submitted the data to the FDA to obtain the emergency use authorization. We obtained that in December 11, and then December 13, the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices provided interim recommendations for the use of the vaccine. As you can see, everything moved so quickly that we have a responsibility when we talk about vaccine confidence to be able to tell our customers, the people that we serve, our friends or family, be able to tell the story that even though this was done in an unprecedented fashion, and I know that we have used that word too much in the recent months, but we have done things appropriately without sacrificing any steps that are the typical specs in getting a vaccine to the arms of individuals who need them. And we'll talk a little bit about that. But on this slide, I want to continue with the top part. And what you can see on the left is the SARS-CoV-2 3D model that we're all very familiar with. And then in the middle, you see the spike protein, the 3D structure of the spike protein. This is a vaccine target. And this is important to know. And when we talk about the target, we call it a P2 mutated full spike protein because you can see here on the top, this area in green is called a receptor binding domain. It has a mutation so that it remains open and accessible as a vaccine target. Then the vaccine, like many of you know, it is a lipid nanoparticle vaccine. And you can see in this diagram that the synthetic mRNA is protected by this lipid nanoparticle. And this nanoparticle also allows the vaccine to get into cells. Then once the vaccine is inside human cells, the cellular machinery, the machinery within our cells make a harmless, and I'm going to repeat it, harmless a portion of the virus, which is this spike protein. And when this antigen, this spike protein, is recognized by our immune system, antibodies are developed, and these antibodies neutralize the COVID-19 virus. But I repeated harmless 2 times because even today, a number of people, in a large number of Hispanics, believe that you can get sick from COVID-19 after being vaccinated, and the reality is not. This vaccine cannot give you COVID-19. As you all probably very familiar with, our vaccine is a 2-dose series separated by 3 weeks. So there's a prime and a boost vaccination. I also wanted to share with you a little bit about our clinical trial, and that enrolled, the latest number is over 46,000 participants. And I just wanted to highlight to you that at Pfizer, it was very important for us to have diverse participation in our trial. So I'm happy to show, and I know there is always opportunity for improvement, that overall we had 26% Latino participation. And in the study, the US component had 13% Hispanic participation. And every day of the enrollment period, we tried very hard to make sure that we were enrolling Hispanics in the trial. Here, I wanted to continue with, okay, so where do we stand? Because we know that in order to get out of this pandemic, we need to get vaccinated. In order for the economy to improve, for business to thrive again, we need individuals being vaccinated. So we have a responsibility, and there's also a group of individuals that can never be vaccinated. So we need to get vaccinated to protect them. So a number of good reasons why we need to have confidence in the COVID-19 vaccine. But here I wanted to show some data where Hispanics, where we land with our enthusiasm to be vaccinated. So you can see here that there's 4 bars that you can see here I started in December of 20 and then in March of 2021. And you can see that Hispanics, we, as far as already receiving or ready to receive the vaccine, we're at 61%. And I think that's very, very good news. As far as uh, those of us that were saying, well, we'll wait and see what happens, happy to report that we went from 43% now to 18%. So we're more open to be vaccinated. Also, there's still about 10% of us that feel that we only want to get vaccinated if required, but that's our role. Hopefully we can help with that. And then we have the group that initially said definitely not, but that came down from 18% to 8% as of March of this year. So I think we're doing better, but this is where we are Hispanics in accepting the COVID-19 vaccine. I also, so what are our concerns? What are the things that we worry about for not getting vaccinated? We're concerned about serious side effects. And it is a concern, but we know, and there's data to show that these vaccines are safe and effective. That's why they were granted emergency use authorization. Concern about the effects of the vaccine will be worse than getting COVID-19. And the reality, again, these vaccines are very safe and effective. If we know that the adverse events, it's normal to have some adverse events, but they typically dissipate in a few days, and we cannot get COVID-19 from getting vaccinated. There's also a concern about missing work, and I think this is a very valid concern to have. But if we look at all the major reasons for not getting vaccinated, and we already talked a little bit about the possible side effects, you see that still a number of individuals do not trust the government to say that the vaccine is safe and effective, or the vaccine is too new, and we want to wait and see, and also the politics involved in the development of this vaccine. But these are conversations that we can have, and we want to get a little bit into that in the short time that we have today. And as far as building vaccine confidence, trust, our trust to offer arms to be vaccinated is related to the public need to be aware that vaccine development, how it's accelerated, but still with all the steps necessary, the rigorous process for a scientific evaluation of the vaccines, and the strict regulatory requirements that lead to vaccine approval, and the fact that we continue assessing the safety of the vaccine during EUA, eventually when we have a commercial approval, and post-commercial approval. So I wanted to contrast the traditional vaccine development paradigm with the pandemic paradigm. And typically, it takes years to get a vaccine approved. And we have a number of steps that typically are done sequentially with process to look at regulatory, clinical, manufacturing data. What happened during the pandemic is that many of the steps took place in parallel without any process, with extreme collaboration between the manufacturers and the regulatory agencies and the government. Large-scale manufacturing at risk. We were manufacturing vaccine before we knew if the vaccine was going to be safe and effective. So, and also a significant transparency that has been shown in the development. Now we need to be able to communicate this to our customers, the people that we serve, so they're comfortable offering their arm to be vaccinated. I wanted to go quickly through key considerations that an emergency use authorization can only be utilized during a declared public health emergency. And it allows, as you know, for unapproved products to be used when there are no adequate alternatives approved. But there's a number of regulatory requirements that need to be in place to make sure that the potential benefits of the product, including vaccines, outweigh the known potential risks of their product. The Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, as I mentioned, has a role making sure that they review the data and they provide recommendations for the utilizations of the vaccine. Distribution, you have seen that there will be much more vaccine supply now in 2021, and the distribution is dictated by the U.S. government working with state and public health officials. Surveillance, I have a slide next. For time's sake, I'll talk a little bit more about safety on the next slide. And eventually, for licensure, we will seek a licensure, commercial licensure of this vaccine. But I wanted to dedicate time to safety because that is a concern. Historically, in the US, we have one of the best vaccines safety monitoring systems in the world, including the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System, VAERS, and others. But I wanted to highlight that for specifically for COVID-19, we have new programs, including the Ihcc program, which is a cell phone-based program that vaccines are being monitored. And if any person vaccinated reports an event that requires to be explored, the CDC will contact that individual. So we're doing much better than we have done in the past monitoring vaccine safety. So safety should not be an issue with the people that we serve, but we need to be able to communicate that. Then, as we get closer to the end of my presentation, so what are the messages that lead people to offering their arm to be vaccinated? You know, people, they want to get back to some type of normalcy, to be able to visit the businesses that they enjoy, like me going to the barber shop. I enjoy model railroading. I want to go to the small shop where I can buy accessories for my model train, go to my favorite flower shop, go to my favorite market. So people want to return to some type of normalcy, but we need to achieve that through vaccination. And businesses, along with healthcare providers, you play a significant role in making sure that we communicate all this information about vaccine safety, and that can lead to vaccine confidence. Our population has been so hardly hit during this pandemic. We play a very, very important role in vaccine confidence conversations. I wanted to sort of end with no good news, but this highlights the importance that Hispanics were 4 times more likely to be hospitalized because of COVID-19, and many of us have died during this pandemic. So this is a very important reason to get vaccinated. And we all play a significant role. And so vaccines attitudes are complex and dynamic, but trust is key, particularly with COVID-19 vaccines, and understanding the process how vaccines are developed, manufactured, and how they get to the arm of people that will be protected. And, you know, businesses play a significant role in this, as Jaime mentioned this morning. And this is the end of my presentation. So we can probably
Thank you, Dr. Antonio. Thank you. Thank you for all your help. Thank you for all you do to help keep us safe. Thank you for the information. We have a quick question from our audience. Does the vaccine help us from new strains of the virus?
Well, and I can say that, as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, we have a lot of information at Pfizer.com. If you go into our science and specifically to COVID-19, we have press releases related to what we know today for as far as the variants. And I urge all of you to visit Pfizer.com and obtain that information. But what you will find, in addition, that as of today, the vaccines, we know our vaccine protects for the variants.
Great, thank you so much. Jaime, we will pass it back to you.
Thank you, Tonio. It's a pleasure. I'm glad you allow me to tell you, Tonio. You know, people ask me what is this has to do with business. Well, I want everybody to let you know that this has everything to do with business. The more people are vaccinated, the better, the sooner we get back to normality. So I encourage every single one of you to be big advocates to get your vaccinations. I, being one of the lucky ones, and I've been vaccinated for about a month. I have my second Pfizer vaccine, and I feel great. In fact, I think I'm more intelligent than ever. So because of that, I want you to know that. So everybody, please be an advocate. We need everybody vaccinated. In order for this to work, we need 75% of the population to be vaccinated. And you know, the other vaccines are good too. So just do whatever you have to do, but get vaccinated. So thank you, Tonio. Thank you, Pfizer, for your collaboration and contribution to the chamber. And you know, we always going to be pushing for everybody to get vaccinated. In fact, we just did a proposal to the state so we can become a spokesperson, so we can get the better vaccinated. So I'll throw it back to you, Ileana, and talk about what's next on the chamber. And thank you so much for being here today.